There's one skill that can transform your DJing, and it's hardly talked about at all. I used to constantly miss drops, was terrible at scratching, and lost thousands on the stock market. But I couldn't work out why. If you've ever seen me on a dance floor, you know I suffer with something crippling. I have no sense of rhythm. But here's the silver lining. Rhythm is something you can learn and improve. This helps us start to mix intuitively rather than analytically. Less reliance on boring waveforms and more reliance on your own internal clock. I'm going to show you a few simple exercises I use to help improve my internal sense of rhythm. Rhythm is a sound that repeats regularly over time. A beat that repeats over regular intervals is called a pulse. Sounds a bit like a heartbeat, doesn't it? Unless you've had too many burgers, in which case it probably sounds like this. Clapping. We do it at the end of a good show, or if you're trying to create a really tiny sonic boom. But it's also a great tool to start to improve your internal sense of rhythm. Let's practice together with a few basic exercises. And by the way, you can grab all the sounds I'm using in this video in the description. I'm not even going to try and sell you a course yet. First, we're going to practice with a basic 4 to the floor rhythm. 4 kicks repeating over and over like a horse getting revenge on a jockey. Here's how it's going to work. I'm going to count out loud from 1 to 4 on each kick drum. Then it's your turn. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, as well as counting, we're going to add a clap. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Finally, stop saying the numbers out loud. Just do it in your head and clap along. The point of this is to train your brain to keep time for you accurately, like a pink, gooey metronome. Once we've got that working, we can then tie that metronome to actions in the real world. Now, in most music, you can break it down further than just those 4 beats. By dividing those beats in half, we get 8th notes. You can say these out loud by saying and. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Let's do the same as before, but adding the ands. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And by the way, I'm working on another video where I'll show you how you can apply all this theory we're learning today to your decks. So subscribe if you don't want to miss that. Don't put your calculator away just yet, because we can divide these beats even further. By cutting the 8th notes in half, we get 16th notes. Because they happen so quickly, we have to say these as E and A. So 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. Let's try saying that out loud to the beat and clapping along. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. Now, before we go any further, I want us to just take a moment here. Observe yourself sat in your bedroom alone, watching YouTube, clapping and talking to yourself like an absolute maniac. I'm worried about you. Most dance music is in a 4/4 time signature, or 4 quarter notes per bar. So why does drum and bass have a different rhythm to house, even though it's in the same time signature?
Because it's better.
As you've seen, we can divide a bar up into 16 separate sections. Where different beats are placed on those sections is one way to change the rhythm. Let's put a kick on the 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th quarter notes, and a snare on every 2nd and 4th. Now look what happens when we move the kick to the 1st and 3rd and get a bit funky with where we put the snare. Rhythms can also be created by unique combinations of things like note length, adding silence, loudness, polyrhythms, which is where you combine rhythms with different time signatures, or syncopation, which is adding emphasis to offbeats. Once you got the hang of this, there's a few ways to level this up and make it a little bit more challenging. There are also some really cool online rhythm tools you can practice clapping along to. They let you try different time signatures, rhythms, and BPMs. Try exploring music that has different kinds of rhythms. The more types of rhythm you can expose your brain to, the better it will get at recognizing it. And because of that, your DJing will get better. But as important as rhythm is, there's another essential skill that you need to learn to keep the dance floor moving. And many DJs struggle with it. Watch this video next where I give you some tips on how to control energy in your sets.